Those photos were Lucky 200, but those are not the Lucky 200 photos that you are looking for. Those photos were taken in Shanghai about 2 years ago, and that is expired Lucky 200. The film stock actually came out pretty well because, well, it's not usually known to last very well. It ages like milk, Lucky film previously. Anything out there that you try to get hold of as you try to get into film and you find, you know, secondhand on eBay or whatever, it just, yeah, usually looks like hot garbage. Cool, experimental hot garbage, but hot garbage. So those photos that I just showed you surprisingly came out quite well. Just as good, if not as good, as just, you know, expired Fujifilm from the same time period. Now, Lucky film has never been known to be as good as Konica or Fujifilm, but that doesn't mean that this new film stock I haven't been looking forward to. And because my partner is Chinese, I was able to get hold of some from China, even though they're only releasing a small batch only in China on, I think, Taobao or a similar site. And what I have in my pocket here is the new Lucky C200. And right now, as you can see, I am in somewhat sunny Wellington, otherwise known as windy Wellington, the windiest capital at the bottom of the world. And the clouds have finally started to break up. It was a bit atrocious this morning, and I have been out going ahead and shooting this film stock. So what this video is going to be is just me shooting it in a bunch of different environments, not always of my own choice, depending on our beautiful weather that we have here in New Zealand. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is just basically shoot the film, take a couple of photos. I'm not going for the most artistic stuff. I'm just wanting to get a good idea of what this film stock can do and be the first one to go ahead and show you what it can do, what it's bad at, what it's good at. I'm going to go ahead and have it scanned on a Noritsu, a Fujitsu, my Epson with its negative flab conversion that it already does, and then going ahead and also scanning as positives and then getting that done in Negative Lab Pro, just to give you a fair understanding of how this film stock will go. Now, I only have the one roll, so again, it's just really going to be what it is. I do have other rolls on the way, but because I'm quite annoyed that Harman Phoenix, and yes, I'm calling you out, didn't want to go ahead and give me a roll of the new Phoenix 2, even though everyone else did, every other man and his dog. I wanted to be first with this, and that's what this video is going to be about. Me being petty. So let's roll with it, and we'll see how it goes. Hey, so future me just dropping in right now. It has been a long couple of days shooting this C200. Now I just want to let you know, I did complete the roll, and as you can see right here, I have some negatives. Overall, I would say it wasn't a negative experience. Oh God. Yeah, that was terrible. No, but in all seriousness, it was really good to just go out and photograph and test and just have a bit of fun. The photos that I am going to show you in just a moment as I go on my little adventure, they are just going to be the frontier photos for now. I think I'm going to make a second video that's a lot more technical and detailed and gives you an understanding and overview of how this film stock looks on both the Fuji Frontier, the Noritsu, the Epson scanner, and also when you scan on the Epson scanner as positives and then convert in Negative Lab Pro, so that you get a variety of looks. If I went ahead and just talked about every damn photo and every version of it in this one video, it would be longer than any of Grainy Day's ones, and he has some pretty damn long videos. So what I'm going to do is just let you see the photos that are the Frontier, and then I'm just going to react to them, basically give you a quick little overview, just some very quick observations based on my experience as a film photographer, and that's pretty much just what it's going to be. So future me is now going to hand you back to past me in just a moment. In 3, 2, 1, go. Now the weather is far from fantastic. It is very grey and cloudy. It is supposed to fine up later. Hopefully I get some sun before I have to catch the ferry back. So right now, as I just said, it's very grey. But I guess that's kind of not a bad thing, because you're going to go ahead and see what this film handles when it's very overcast. There isn't some very deep shadows or anything like that, so it's kind of good to know how contrasty a film is. If you're shooting during the day and it's very bright, you're obviously going to get quite a bit of strong contrast. So therefore, if you're shooting overcast, it kind of just gives you a reference point for that, really. Looking at this photo right now, I think actually this would be pretty much on par with any other color film stock that I would have shot in those kind of environments. Yeah, there's a little bit of softness up the top here and around, but I think that might be more to do with the lens and the fact that probably because I was shooting at a lower angle and everything else, it would have been a wider aperture. So yeah, there's a little bit of softness, but I don't think that will speak for most of the photos. So let's continue. Yeah, unfortunately, right now on Som's Island, it is very overcast, which I guess is probably good for you, because you're going to go ahead and see what this film stock handles like on an overcast day. And you're going to get an idea of how contrasty it is, because some film stocks that are out there, in particular, take for example Harman Phoenix 1, even on a contrasty day, or non-contrasty day should I say, come off with very blown out highlights and deep shadows that can be very difficult to work with, if not impossible. So this would be a good test for that. Now, looking at this photo here, again, the softness up top, but you can see some very rich greens, richer than I think even the video footage would have shown. Yeah, no, this is definitely a much better version of the composition. Again, there is some softness up the top, but I think that's just the FD lenses. When you shoot quite wide open, they do fall off rather quickly. And in my opinion, nowhere near as pleasantly as, you know, the Helios with its amazing roll off. Now this scene is backlit. Now because I'm metering towards the middle, it's probably going to pick up more of like the light from those highlights, and therefore it's just going to be that way. But even still, when you look at, if we just zoom in, that's still pretty darn green compared to, you know, the blackness that other film stocks can have. Like, that's got latitude. Without a doubt, it's solid. There's just nothing more to say than I'm actually quite impressed with this film stock so far. Oh boy, I have been to Som's Island so many times, and I've never been up in just this little spot right here, and wow, I just found a cool new vantage point that I've never seen before. Now, by this point in the day, it had gotten a bit brighter. Looking at this shot here, everything's well exposed. There's a variety of greens. I will say something about the new Harman Phoenix too. I love what Harman Phoenix is. It is a very creative film stock. What we are needing though is a technical film stock that is at a good price, and this C200, if you're looking at this photo here, yeah, it's technically good. It is a solid film stock. Very reminiscent of Kodak Gold and Color Plus for sure. Like, if I was going to lean into it being a recreation of Color Gold, yeah, I see it. I see it 100%. Without a doubt, it is just exactly that, pretty much. When it comes to latitude, you've got some very dark spots here, but they never really drop off dramatically. And then you've got, you know, this more blown out sky, but it's not horrifically blown out. Like, there's still some blue there. Yeah, I would say it's pretty solid when it comes to its latitude, which is really good because Harman Phoenix 1 was obviously terrible, and you could have to push that film stock to actually get some latitude with it. Even still, it was, you know, I haven't shot the second one, but it has its own specialty characteristics with Harman Phoenix 2 that, you know, this here is just solidly performing. Yeah, absolutely so. This is a solid composition. of course, if I'm not going to be too up myself, apart from this weird branch of the sky bit. But the fact is, your eyes immediately go to the lighthouse, but that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is the colors. The colors are fantastic. You can actually see quite a bit of detail here. Like, even still, like, obviously it's not sharp or anything highly detailed, but you know, this is 35mm and there's a decent amount of information there, just as good as any other Kodak film stock that I've shot, or even Fujifilm stock for that matter. If my style was Postcards R Us, you wouldn't be wrong. It hurts my feelings, but it's true. But in all non-kidding aside, this is a contrasty scene. It might not look it from the immediacy, but you've got very bright highlights. You've got the city over here with a lot of buildings that reflect. Then you've got the lighthouse, very reflective, but none of it is blown out. And then you look at the shadows that roll off on the hilltops, and again, it just keeps the color in the shadows, still keeps them in shadows, but doesn't roll off dramatically, which is very good to see. And again, same thing with this photo. It's pretty much got exact same features as the last photo. And I thought, why not? I like my RB, and why can't we photograph photos of our cameras? It's a, you know, it's a mood, it's a vibe, it's a lifestyle. You know, isn't it technically in many ways a self-portrait? Now, there was a reason why I had to wait around for the sun, and I was really hoping that the sun would come out, because if it hadn't, I would have been pissed. Wasted a day off leave, but no, it did come out, and here basically confirms my suspicions. If you told me that that was Kodak Gold, I'd believe you. I think anyone would believe you. This film stock so much reminds me of Kodak Gold, or Color Plus. Yeah, it's solid. And if it comes out in 120, that would be fantastic. But we'll just have to wait and see. Now, I've photographed this location before. So if we just go ahead and have a look at this other photo, which was shot on 800T, but just to, you know, give you an idea of how that can look on another day. Yeah, it's fantastic greens. The greens are very realistic and pleasing, and not really in the aquarish kind of spectrum that greens can sometimes turn up into. There is a tiny, tiny, tiny amount of halation. So just because a film stock has an anti-halation layer does not mean that it will somehow not have halation. Even, 500T, not the Remjet removed version, the version with the Remjet can have halation. So yeah, this possibly can do, but it's very minute and small, and honestly, it's a very bright white fence. Anything like that is just what comes with the territory, but it looks good. It looks absolutely solid. Coming back to the same spot, the colors just, yeah, there's nothing really here that's just, too underexposed or too overexposed. It's a contrasty scene, but it handles well, and there is a play of light. Sometimes it's better to have, less contrast, and you kind of get more stuff in detail. But there's also not a problem with being too contrasty or having quite a bit of contrast. But this here strikes a pretty decent balance between having contrast and not being too contrasty. So yeah, solid. So as you can see by my face right now, it is golden hour, and it is a winter golden hour, so it's not that strong. And because of the angle, it doesn't go truly golden because of just where it sits before it goes behind the hills here in Wellington. So it is what it is, but I thought I would go ahead and get a test shot anyway. And it is photo number 19. So as I said, it is winter here in Wellington right now. So where the sun sits matters as to the angle, which matters to the kind of light that you get and how golden your golden hour is. Because we have hills, it dips quite a bit quicker, but essentially it's just not going to be that gold. So yeah, this golden hour doesn't look that gold, but it still looks pretty solid in my opinion. Again, the latitude is pretty darn good. I keep on going on about the latitude, but honestly, it is important. If you cannot work with the latitude in particular, I think latitude actually matters more to color film than it does to black and white. And the reason is you can play into the lack of latitude with a black and white film stock. Period. Like, that is the thing. You can do that. You can make something high key, you can make something low key. You can focus on key details that you can't do with color in the same way. It is so much more harder to do that with color because you can just end up making the image look like hot garbage if you get it wrong. So having latitude matters for most photographers because most of us are not that skilled when it comes to playing with light and color photography in the way that, people are more likely to do that with black and white. So it's highly important, and yeah, this is just solidly got a decent amount of latitude. So if you're worried about going ahead and shooting a scene like this, don't worry. This film stock handles it well. But that being said, this shot here, I was really just like the atmosphere and the vibes at the time. Uh, I would say if you really want to make sure that your skies don't roll off with this film stock, use a polarizer. But I could say the same thing about Kodak Pro Image or even Portra 400 or whatever. Like, use a polarizer if you're going to shoot with the sky and you want the sky to be blue. It's just a thing you need to do. And also can reduce reflections on the water if you didn't know that. Okay. This is photo number 23 and it is f16 at 1 second. This is blue hour right now and let's see how this photo goes. Now I waited around a little bit in the evening for this shot and I'm glad I waited. It tells me one thing. I would probably hazard a guess because this is a very daylight balanced film. It's not probably the best for blue hour. I've seen some shots from the new Harman Phoenix 2 and yeah, it looks great for blue hour. But this, probably not. Just probably not. I have a hunch. I only took one photo really at this time period, but yeah, I'm probably going to say it's not good for blue hour. But hey, here's a photo of the city that I live in where you can't really see the buildings. So I've never shot this spot before. What we're going to need to go ahead and do is count for reciprocity failure now that we are going to be shooting for longer exposure times. It's still near the end of blue hour, night hasn't fully set in. So I'm going to go ahead and use my light meter here. It's 200 ISO. Okay. So it's saying at f5.6, 15 seconds. Which is what I'm going to do. Oh no, 8 seconds. Which times 1.3, which is what you need to do for reciprocity, that would be... So it says 15 seconds here, and then this is always a fun, annoying bit at night. 15 seconds would be like 20 seconds, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do 20 seconds. Okay. I'm going to change this to B mode. It is on B mode. Okay. Yep. And that is what we will do. 20 seconds. Okay. Let's go. No. Okay. Let's go. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi, 10 Mississippi, 11 Mississippi, 12 Mississippi, 13 Mississippi, 14 Mississippi, 15 Mississippi, 16 Mississippi, 17 Mississippi, 18 Mississippi, 19 Mississippi, 20 Mississippi, 21 Mississippi, 22 Mississippi, 23 Mississippi, 24 Mississippi, oh fuck, that was a little too long. This is what happens when you get distracted. Okay. We will do one more shot at blue hour and we will see how that goes. Again, 5.6, now I was saying 8 seconds, 15 seconds. Okay, let's try that 20 Mississippi again. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi, 10 Mississippi, 11 Mississippi, 12 Mississippi, 13 Mississippi, 14 Mississippi, 15 Mississippi, 16 Mississippi, 17 Mississippi, 18 Mississippi, 19 Mississippi, 20 Mississippi. Hopefully that is a stunning photo because the composition, I don't know why I've never shot that before. It's an awesome composition. So now looking at this shot, I think I somehow miscalculated the reciprocity. Either that or you don't need to do reciprocity failure with this film stock, but I highly doubt it. I think I just miscalculated it all in my head. After all, I didn't have my phone with me to calculate what was happening, so I did, I think, 20 seconds, but my light meter said 15 seconds. I probably should have stuck with the 15 seconds. As you can see, it's just blown out on the skies and even the water a little too much, and you can see around the buildings. Probably 15 seconds would have been just fine, but hey, here's a long exposure on water. What can I say? Okay, not crazy, but yeah. Okay, so I'm starting to run low on photos. I'm at 25. So I've shot this location before, so I kind of generally know how it handles, and there are a bunch of different other film stocks. They're not like for likes, they're not 200 color film stocks. Generally, I think they are 800 speed. So I think I did shoot 100T at 25 ISO. So basically, I'm just going to take the one photo and hopefully it is all good. And because there's a few people around, I'm not going to go for a fast shutter speed. So I don't think I necessarily need to. Okay. I can get away with 1 second. So that's what I'm going to do. It says f4.5, but I'm going to give it just a tiny bit more and do f4. So. There we are. I think that compositionally works. Not too bad. Okay. Now I went around. Okay, when I said no one around, obviously, someone was around. Okay, car's got its lights on. Let's just wait till the lights are turned off. Or maybe just don't care. After all, this isn't supposed to be an art piece. It's just supposed to be a photo that tells you, can this film stock handle neon lights, nighttime, etc. I apologize for the framing of this one. I don't know what happened. But it is quite interesting. I do think this is slightly overexposed. And what I mean by that is when you look at the Heartbreaker neon sign, it is blown out. So I would recommend, if you're going to shoot this film stock at night, which I don't recommend, but if you're going to go ahead and do that, I would say use a spot meter. I'd say that with actually pretty much any film stock, to be honest. But use a spot meter just so that you can meter correctly. But it is interesting, actually, like not everything is too blown out. They're not too far over the brighter points, the neon signs, but just actually a decent amount of detail in the shadows here. Like, yeah, it's actually surprisingly decent amount. I've shot here before with other film stocks, and I don't think that the shadow detail is as wow. But that could also be because I've probably slightly overexposed it when it comes to the neon signs. But what can we do? Yeah, this film stock is 100% daylight balanced. You can tell that by the white little surface here. Yeah, it has a look to it, so I wouldn't use that in this scenario. It is interesting when I look at the Mexico sign. I think just off the top of my head, it has more halation than previous times I've shot here with other film stocks, but it's interesting. I don't know why that is, because there really hasn't been any other strong halation otherwise. It just looks pretty solid. Now, I've been thinking about what photos to test this against, because you can't do one-for-one comparisons, or at least I can't, because I'm shooting 5 other videos at the moment, and none of them are color film, because I'm not really supposed to be shooting color film this year. But I've shot this location before on a few film stocks on a few different days, so I have a general idea of how it should look. And basically that's what this shot's just going to be, a general comparison. It's not a one-for-one, like, it's not the most scientific method, but hopefully it comes out all right. I've gone ahead and I don't think I've actually taken a photo of myself here at this spot, but I have taken some video footage on infrared before, and it was pretty freaking cool. So let's see how this goes. First of all will be to meter, then to set the timer. That is F16 at 125th of a second. I have the timer on. Okay, that should have taken the photo. Or did it? Because I was on 28 before. Ah, fuck. Okay. Let's try that again. Very confused. What the hell? Why isn't it moving on to the next shot? Strange. Oh well. So I definitely had to take a shot here because I have shot this location multiple times, and around this time of the year it is stunning and it is beautiful because usually it's quite cold, so you can see the like mildew and moisture in the air and it can reflect off the sun. I don't think today's the right conditions, but still it's good enough. And that photo there should tell me at least what kind of film stock that this is. Okay, so it's a little bit later in the day, a little later than when I would normally shoot this spot, but I've shot it twice before, so a bit of difference with the shade here. So I think I'm gonna shoot this time 5, 6, and 7, and that will be my comparison photo, even though obviously it's not like for like, and I shot those other shots on different days. In my hand right now is the old Lucky 200 and the new Lucky 200. I'm hoping this new Lucky 200 is as good as the old Lucky 200, and I'm hoping that these photos that I've shot, they actually come out well. Hoping there's no light leaks or double exposures or some other weird issue like, I don't know, maybe I'm just terrible at metering. Who knows? Hopefully the photos are good, because I've only got this one roll. So as always, it's been real, guys. Until next time.